Welcome to the Inglorious Blasters podcast, a Star Wars Legion podcast talking anything and everything glorious or inglorious about the game. My name's Koray, and with me today are two mud scuffers I call friends, John and Brendan. How's it going, my dudes?
It's going good.
It has been a little rainy, so there is some mud out.
This is very true. Do you have a guess as to what new media this is from?
New media, huh?
Recent media.
Recent, huh? Was this in Bad Batch?
No.
Okay.
We'll give you one more.
Was it a visual medium?
Yes, visual.
Okay.
Live action.
Live action. Oh, live action. So that would probably have been... It wasn't in Ahsoka, was it?
No.
Andor, then.
No.
No?
No, it's an insult used by Bo-Katan to describe the Imperial warlords who bombed her castle. The Mandalorian.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
That
Chapter
I wouldn't
19.
consider recent. So.
Yeah.
That was over a year ago.
Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's recent.
I have seen that. Solid show.
Anyways.
But now that you say that, I remember that exact scene. My memory,
Yeah, I know, right? Stuff comes out all the time. It's like hard to it's hard to like watch something, appreciate it before moving on to the next thing. There's not enough time. There's too much stuff coming out all the time.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
We get the Acolyte next week.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we did.
That was quick.
It looks pretty dark. I was the trailer I watched. What was I watching last night that I was surprised? I was watching one of the NHL playoff games, and I was surprised that there was a trailer that played that I had not seen, and I was actually like, "Whoa!" It actually gave me a little bit of a chill. And my wife was there watching, and she was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "This is the new Star Wars series." And she's like, seems very dark, and I'm like, yeah, it looks intense.
Yeah, from the reviews I've seen, it looks really good. I'll let you guys know on Monday what I think about it, because it comes out on Tuesday. I thought about coming to play on Monday with you guys, but then I saw that they were
a critical hit. Okay.
Yeah, but then I saw that they were offering a early screening in Tyson's Corner, Virginia. So I signed up for that.
No.
To see it in a movie theater.
No, don't do that.
I'm seeing it in a movie
come play
theater.
with us.
No, movie theater.
Come play with us.
I'll probably get a free poster or something out of it. I gotta go.
Fine. Come play another week.
I was pretty excited when you said you were gonna come. I was like, really? Hey!
I was thinking maybe this will be the time I finally
let us down
go.
in the same sentence.
No, because I'm going to go see Star Wars in a movie theater. So.
But you could go see your friends in a game store.
I could see Star Wars in a movie theater 24 hours early.
All right, that's fair. Well, I haven't seen any trailers because I just don't watch trailers nowadays.
I always forget that. Well, I feel bad that I even said anything.
No, I don't. Oh, I don't care. I mean, as long as you're not saying like, "Hey, did you know like Luke gets his hand chopped off?"
Disregard everything.
As long as you don't say stuff like that.
Looks very happy. There's a Care Bear jumping around in the background.
Yeah,
lots of
Vader
hugging.
Is Luke's dad.
I had no idea. That's crazy. That's not possible.
Should we put a spoiler alert on the episode just so nobody gets caught off guard?
If people haven't figured that out in 44 years, they've got problems.
There might be one person out there
cross-reference.
They're a Legion player. They like Star Wars enough, but have not watched that episode. So
I'm sorry, that spoiler's
maybe.
older than we are, so it's not a spoiler anymore.
It's actually it's interesting to think about. I didn't really think about it that way.
Very true. Yes. Okay. Welcome to the show, everyone. We got a good show. We're going to be doing a little recap of the Critical Hit tournament that I ran a couple of weekends ago. John and I went. Brendan was supposed to be there. I took his place.
Yes, so if anybody is looking at the game up link where it says me, that's Koray playing as me. He impersonated me for the day.
I did. There was a small chance he could play, so I was like, I don't want to remove his name from the Game Up link prematurely. And I was like, whatever. I'll just pretend to be Brendan.
It worked for me.
Exactly. And then we got a Glorious versus Inglorious segment. It is back. I'm excited. We're going to do a Royal Guard discussion. Stick around. Should be sweet. Before we begin, I want to hand it over to Brendan for some Atlantic City Open hype. Let me hear it, my dude.
Yeah, so the Atlantic City Open is happening in just a few weeks, June 15th and 16th. We've got a singles event as well as a doubles event. I'm currently waiting to hear how many people have signed up for both events, but I do have the registration sites up and running now. For the singles event, we're using Game Uplink, and for the team event, we are using Longshanks because it already has a built-in team function, and that makes my life a lot easier than trying to figure out pairings every round using something like Game Uplink.
That's very fancy. Awesome.
Yeah. Also, Longshanks has made a lot of updates pretty recently to help accommodate the Legion community. So I'm hearing a lot of good things from other TOs that have used it. So I'm looking forward to using it for this event. I got a lot of prize support available. I've talked about it here on the cast before. We've got some 3D printed models. I've now gotten 2 of the new store kits, so plenty of cards and some token bags and stuff to go around. Lots of stickers. I mean, don't overlook the stickers in those boxes.
The stickers are fun.
Not to mention all these other odds and ends I've gotten from tournaments. I've got some stuff I'm going to give away from Worlds 2023, as well as just a lot of the random stuff I've collected over the years that I don't have really the space to display anymore. So I'm going to let people try and win those. And Koray is also donating some trophies for the goat. And what's the other one? Winner. It's a chicken. That's right. Yep. So we got all sorts of fun stuff going on. Got card sleeves. I mean, I got a lot of stuff. Now, just because I have a lot of stuff doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be the one getting a lot of stuff. I am going to have a lot of stuff up for winning, based on you win tickets for playing your games. Everybody's going to get a ticket for every game they play, so you'll choose where you want to put your tickets to try and win something. And then other things I'll just be giving away to everybody. Little bit of both, but you get a blue ticket if you're the blue player, you get a red ticket if you're the red player, and you get a purple ticket if you win. So that way it's just easier to track the tickets and everything. I'm currently working on the system to try and make sure it all goes as smoothly and quickly as possible, because it could potentially be a lot of stuff that I'm having people choose where they want to put their tickets. So, but I have the tickets. I've got a lot of stuff. So come and, take my stuff.
Glowing review.
Yep. And lastly, I did get some, as I mentioned last cast, I've got some 6-inch by 3-foot sidebars made. I finally got my first pictures back of what they're going to look like, and they will arrive in time for Atlantic City. And I think they look pretty great. I've shown a picture to Koray and John, so I'd like to get their thoughts on these things that they won't get.
Yeah, I'm a little sad I won't get this. It looks really neat.
They are sweet.
How do I commission one for me?
Oh, you ask nicely and or give me money. So
okay, I can probably do one of 2 things.
Probably the money, because they're not exactly cheap to make.
Okay. Darn it.
You mean we rudely ask you while giving you a fistful of cash?
So the winner of the singles event will get one, and the team that wins will also get one for each player. So they're the big ticket prizes. I mean, they are what I spent the most money on for prize support. So they're the cool stuff. And lastly, if I find out we don't have enough players to do the team tournament, we don't have enough teams, I'll combine the 2 events into one big singles tournament. So no matter what, people are going to be guaranteed games.
Show up, play Legion. I love it. Very nice. All right. Well, how about we get into the meat of the episode, ladies and gentlemen? So, Critical Hit Tournament. It was it like 2 weekends ago now? Yeah, 2 weekends ago. It was a lot of fun. We had 12 players come on out, and like I said, I kind of filled in for Brendan, and that was very easy for me to do because Brendan ran basically the same thing I ran at Top Deck, like a month ago or something?
Yeah, at the beginning of the month, it looked fun,
yeah.
So I went, yeah, I want to try that because I want to play Range
yeah,
Troopers.
That looks great. Well, I mean, not to spoil it, but it did not disappoint again. So, and then John also went. John, do you want to talk about your list first and talk about your games first? I'm tossing it over to you.
Sure. Yeah. So I played Clone Commandos. First tournament with Commandos as they just released, so that would make sense. My list was called the Not the Brendan list. And then
I had help with that.
Yeah, Koray had to input it into Game Uplink. I think because there was an issue with inputting any list with Commandos or Range Troopers. So when I couldn't figure it out, you went ahead and put it in, and that's what you came up with, because I think a couple days before I had put a list out in our private Discord for Brendan that was 2 Lats, 2 Wookiee Warriors, and some clones, and I was like, you should definitely play this. And I believe you responded, you should play it, but you won't because you're a coward.
Yes.
Yep. John is in fact a coward.
So I did not play it, but then Koray, to throw some shade at me, titled my list Not the Brendan List. But that's
hopefully the Brendan list that we're talking about will come into fruition later on. We'll force him to play.
I got to pull it out at some time because it actually looked well in either regard. I'll get into what I actually did play. So, 800 point 8-act Anakin Padme list. Shocking
for the Republic.
Yeah. So Annie had push, saber throw, offensive, defensive stance. Padme with improvised orders sees the initiative. 3 clone commandos, all with HQ uplink. Phase 2 clone trooper with Z6, which might be the first time I played a Z6 in 2 years. Which probably will be the last time I play one for a while. But in either regard, hate those white dice. It did okay. It did alright. So Phase 2 with the Z6 and a medic. Phase 1 with the DC-15 and a captain, which is my bread and butter. And then another Phase 1 with an RPS and a captain. So like I said, 800 points, 8 activations.
Sweet.
Yeah. I basically just took the Anakin Padme arc list that I had been playing, removed the arcs, swapped in commandos, and then threw in a medic. And figured I'd try a Z6 just to see what that was like after a 2-year hiatus. And I was quickly reminded why I don't play them. But it was a great token battery for 102 points when you throw that medic on there.
Reliable one.
And reliable one, yes.
You don't want a whole B1 squad in one model?
Yeah. As soon
That's
as
effectively what that is, yeah.
Every time I picked up those dice, well, maybe just the first 2 times where I'm like, this could be really good. And then every time I rolled it, I was like, so disappointed. So disappointed every time.
Yeah.
Especially when you start re-rolling the white dice, because like usually you'll get like 3 hits on the 4 black if you've got a surge available, and then you'll re-roll a black and white, and then the black will usually hit, the white will be a blank, and then it's like, okay, let me start re-rolling 2 white, and it's like double blank. All right, let me grab this aim off Anakin. Double blank. All right, let me grab this aim off Padme. Double blank. And then I'm just like, why did I choose this unit? So that happened a couple times, and then I just started aim dodging with it, and it just became like a like the most expensive token platform imaginable.
Nice.
So, but yeah, how do we want to go through our games?
You could just go. We could go one at a time. That's fine.
Okay. Would you like to go first or second, sir?
Well, you just talked about your list, John. So talk
yeah,
about
go ahead.
game 1.
Yep.
All right, so game 1, I was playing against Jim, who is a fellow Republic player. He was doing a OB gunline list, 799, 8 activations. He had OB and a bunch of clones, basically. 2 phase 2 units with mortars and medics, 2 phase 1s with RPSs, a full arc with jetpacks, prepared supplies, impact grenades, and then 2 barks with RPSs. So I was red player, and we ended up playing VAPs on advanced positions, clear conditions. And at 800 points, you pretty much know how this goes. We set up our VAPs, and then it's like, all right, you come at me, because if nobody kills anything, which can happen in a Republic versus Republic matchup, this is my game at 800 points when you're playing 799. But he had put that full arc squad out just a little too far. And what I've been doing with the commandos is I hit all the HQ uplinks turn 1. And then when I play Anakin's 3-pip, I've got an order on Anakin. And then I was throwing my other 2 orders on the RPS and the DC-15. So I've got 2 fire supports out of the gate with 6 red. And then the other one is 5 red, a black, and a white with the Pierce 1 at range 4. So he had that unit out a little bit, and I basically did back-to-back fire supports, knocked off the full arc squad, and then it was kind of just downhill from there, because then I could really turtle up, because he was down 115 points out of the gate, and I didn't have to advance on him. So to make a long story short, we ended on a tie on the VAPs, 4-4, but I tabled him, so I got all 799 points, and I lost no units.
Bully!
And that was game 1.
I'm sorry.
John went ahead and beat up some new people.
No, Jim did say I don't think he had played in a while. So I think he was thinking like, okay, just keep feeding units to me. And I was just sitting there just like, okay. The commandos could literally just sit, recover, shoot. So shields are always up. They're always getting their aim. I think HQ uplink is like a staple, in my opinion, on commandos. And then being able to fire support those shots is just nasty.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was game 1.
Well done. All right, so kind of alluded to it earlier. Brendan wanted to play the list that I played,
I'm so
but I'll go over it.
I didn't get to play.
I know you missed out. But I'll go over it again really quick. It's Emperor Palpatine with some range troopers. So Palp has barrier, guidance, anger, and aggressive tactics. I've got 2 shores with the T-21B, 2 mortars, a Royal Guard with a protector, and then 3 range troopers with the DLT-20A, which is the 2 red impact 2 gun, for 9 activations. So I'm basically I'm gaining another act and sacrificing a medic for this list just for some extra firepower, and like it usually pays off if I can keep Palp and the IRG kind of healthy until at least turn 3, depending on how my IRG rolls go for the range troopers. Anyways, so round 1 I played against David. So David is a player that entered the game initially when it first came out, and then like kind of dropped in and out here and there. Life gets in the way. He gets busy. He plays other games. So like he had a free Saturday. And he's like, yeah, let me come out and play. And he's like, his first question is like, what are some major rules changes? I'm like, well, do you know about like the latest rule book changes? And like I told them some like line of sight.
Cover and climb doesn't exist.
Yeah. I was like, this is how you climb now. You don't need to clamber and stuff like that. But anyways, it was a fun time. We played key positions, danger close, and war weary. He was playing a Imperial armory. He had like double bounty and veers, along with some like a smattering of like different core and like some snipers. So yeah, we deployed, and it it was just kind of a bloodbath. He kept stepping up, like I just kept my range, and he kept stepping up to just get a shot at by range troopers and or mortars and T-21s. And then basically I was able to just kill stuff. Round one, I guess turn one, let me say it this way. Turn one, I neutered or killed a shore squad. I was like, okay, let me go after a different target. Let me go after Boba. Boba didn't activate yet. He's in light cover. I'm like, okay, I'll just fire at him. I get all 6 from a range trooper shot. 1 goes away to light cover, and then he had a dodge, so it's 4. And then he only makes 1 save, and I was like, cool. I'm like, I look at David. I'm like, oh, this is a weird game now. So he effectively has to hide with Boba the rest of the game, which is not what you want to do.
Nope.
But anyways, he just, and then he kind of fed me Bosk, rather than like shooting and then hiding with him, he like just shot with him and then went on top of a building. So then I was like, okay, I will just shoot him. And then near the end of the game, he actually did reduce a lot of my forces, but near the end of the game, Palp just did his zappy zap, and he just couldn't get on the point. So I was like, okay, that's what Palp does at the end of the game. Goes towards that center KP and just does zap zap. It was a lot of fun. That was my game 1.
Right on.
How about you, John? How was your game 2?
Game 2 was against Jack. It was his birthday. Happy birthday, Jack.
Yes, the birthday boy. Real quick.
Tournament was a birthday party?
We were all joking, saying like, yeah, it was. Jack told me in the Discord that it was the day of the tournament was his birthday. And I was like, oh, sweet, I'm going to bring cake. But then the more I thought about it, I didn't want the logistics of actual cake, because then that requires plates and forks or something and a serving knife. And I was like, cupcakes it is. So thanks to everyone to coming for Jack's birthday.
That's why I was
down on cupcakes.
He had a lot of fun. It was great.
He did.
You did miss out on good cupcakes.
Now I'm sad.
Anyway, sorry, John.
And the camaraderie, more than anything.
That's right.
Which apparently means nothing to you, because you're not going to be there on Monday, because you're going to... Anyway.
We're all ashamed.
Anyway.
I'm not.
We're all going to kill you in the DMV Legion Discord. Anyway, sorry, John.
Unacceptable. So, anyway, game 2. So I was playing against Jack, which I guess you already know that, because that's how we got on that last rant. He was playing a 501st list. Anakin Rex, Anakin with Saber Throw, Push, Seize, and Tenacity. Rex with Improvise Orders, Recon Intel. Phase 2 with Echo. A Arc Strike team. 2 full arcs. And then a Arc Trooper with 5s and a Naked Bark. 795, 8 activations. We ended up playing Hostage Exchange, Advanced Positions, and Hostile Environment. So this was another 800 to 795 on an objective that often ends in a tie. So he was able to do the Rex shenanigans, where Rex was actually able to scouting party up and then have the hostage do a speed 3 move, because between Rex with recon intel and playing on advanced position, that all stacked up to be a scout 3 move for the hostage. Which, no problems there, because my hostage got to do the double move turn 1, followed by the free speed 1 move from Padme's 2-pip turn 2. So it's kind of equivalent as far as distance from that extra gain that you'd get from scouting part. Well, I guess it's not.
Well, he still technically goes way farther.
He still goes way farther, but I guess it's 4 inches shorter from the way that I'm looking at it, because he'd get a free 8-inch move, but I get a free 4-inch move. Either way,
right? Okay.
My hostage is gone and around the corner. His hostage is gone and around the corner. And this is another situation where it's 800 points to 795. Come at me, bro. So
that's where John thrives.
That is literally when those when those cards come out, I'm like, how do we play hostage or Vaps? Is literally what I'm thinking out of the gate every time. So, spoiler alert, if you're playing against me, you probably shouldn't let me get those objectives.
Don't let him.
But anyway, I did the same thing I did with Jim, where I set up like turn 1 fire supports, popping all the uplinks on the commandos, and then throwing orders on the DC-15 and the RPS and Anakin with his card. Which also gives me perfect order control, by the way, because then what I have in my bag is a troop and then Padme, but she has improvised orders, so I can pretty much draw what I want. So that's the glory also of that turn 1 play, when all the uplinks are the commandos. But I was able to do a one-shot of one of his arc strikes turn 1 with the DC-15 fire support into one of the commandos. So the 6 red critical 3, because it was by one of my, what are they called? Complete the mission tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of put me up on the act count 8 to 7. And then pretty much he was running with his hostage around the corner, like I said, going into turn 2. Padme played her 2 pip to get that free speed 1 move. Brendan's falling asleep. And then my hostage went around the corner, and he was forced to pretty much feed me units, and the game ended in a tie 2-2 with me with 693 kill points, and I lost nothing on that one.
Bully! What?
Absolute monster. This guy comes into my local shop and just beats everyone to a pulp.
One very entertaining play at the very end. He had Anakin and the 5's arc squad, and we pretty much had determined it was game over. Oh, and his hostage unit, but the hostage unit was so far back. This was turn 5, so it wasn't even relevant because it was pretty much like clear that I was not going to chase it. And he's like, I'm just going to charge your Anakin with my Anakin and see what happens. And I was like, yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do. So he had 3 acts to my 8 acts at this point. So he charges with Anakin.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he charges with Anakin and then expects me to hit him back with my Anakin. And instead, I go with everything else and take a standby. And then
you're a mean man.
And then I force push his Anakin into 7 standbys.
All the standbys.
On which standby did he die?
I think it was the 3rd or 4th standby.
Poor Anakin.
And then my Anakin didn't actually attack that Anakin because I didn't want my Anakin.
He had 2 actions left.
He had 2 actions left, which he then charged the Echo Squad and one-shotted them, going 5 for 5 on his attack. Or they had lost a model or 2 from one of the standbys that got triggered, and then they shot. So the remaining, I think it was 5s and 3 guys left, or 5s and 2. So anyway, Anakin finished them off, and then at that point it was literally just the hostage unit. So I had killed 693 points, and I had lost, a couple models here and there, but no full units. And I was like, I'm pretty sure you're aware I'm not going to chase you down to try to table you and get that squad. So we called it at the end of round 5. So, but pretty entertaining to force push.
You wanted the Anakin duel, and you were like, nah.
If that ever happens to you, that's not something you ever let happen again.
Man.
Yeah, I'm like, Anakin duel, that's never going to happen.
If you've never experienced a force push into a bunch of standbys, and you experience something like that, you never forget it.
Happy birthday, Jack. Nice.
We were honestly both excited just to see, like, when he started to see me, just like everything, I was going, aim standby. And then he was like, I'm out. And I'm like, all right, these guys aim standby, these guys aim standby, these guys aim standby, these guys aim standby. And it was just like, all right, let's see what happens. I mean, we knew it was going to be a dead end.
Yeah.
But
At
it's just
that
one of
point,
those
you know
things.
it's
Still
gonna be
entertaining. Still entertaining.
Right. It's just at that point you're just like, let's just see it happen.
How lucky can my rolls get?
Right. Well, that's fun.
So yeah, it was fun. He had a good time. I mean, we had a lot of laughs, especially at that very climactic
very end,
end. A lot of times they don't end like that with the hostage VAP games, where it's just like, well, I guess nothing dies, or I guess I killed one of your units and we're tied, or what have you. So for it to come to that type of ending, where Anakin just goes down in a blaze of glory, was pretty exciting.
Nice. While you were beating up more Republic players, I was literally just dogging on the rebellion. So I played against Cody. Cody showed up at my tournaments a couple times. He is local, but Legion's not his main game. His main game is what is it? Lord of the Rings, the one from Games Workshop, right? He loves that one a lot, and he plays. He's been playing that one for years, so that's his jam. So I was excited to see him come and hang out. So anyways, he's playing some Rebel stuff. He's playing Lando, an Imperial officer, Jedi Luke, and then I think it was three vets, and then 3 Mark IIs. And then a FD, right? So he had a whole smattering of stuff. He had a bunch of range 4, and hopefully he can get Luke in and just start messing stuff up. He was blue player, and we ended up on Sabotage, Long March, and Fortified. Long March is where Range Troopers and Palp want to be. Just sit back and just chuck buckets of dice. That's really it. So, I mean, it effectively went, he placed his VAPs, and then one of his VAPs was too far out, near the middle, and by me just taking one step, I was in range to shoot that VAP. I was like, okay, well, you're not going to be able to get this VAP off. And then Luke was basically coming around the one side. He had a good line of sight blocker. There was a big hill they could hide behind. So then what he ended up doing was, I think it was the end of turn 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure it was 3. The end of turn 3, he tries to hop up the hill. But at that point I had already taken some standbys with a mortar, and then I had shot at him earlier with something else. I can't remember what, but Luke's saves were not great. I shot at him before he went to the hill, and he took 2 wounds. So that wasn't great for him. And then the mortar, it was 2 mortars and an IRG standby that just downed him. And I was like, ooh. And then that was during the turn where he played Full of Surprises, where he can add extra dice on his defense. It was just not stellar rolls for him. So he couldn't make any sort of Luke play happen, and then we just kind of called it there. So, man, I'll say it here: Range Troopers against things that are not the Republic are kind of crazy. You just have buckets of dice at range 4, so when they come to step up, you're just gonna blow them out of the water. That's been my experience so far. Fair and balanced. Moving along, John, how'd your game 3 go?
Game 3 was against Chris, who I actually played, I think, the week prior. We had a practice game on one of the Monday nights. And we were both playing, I think he was playing the same list, and I was playing a variation of the list that I settled on for the tournament, which is basically a suppressive list, utilizing range troopers. So, Empire list, 799, 9 Axe, Veers, Improvised Orders, Bosk, Shore Troopers with the T-21B, Stormtroopers with an Imperial Officer, Mortar, 3 Ranged Troopers with the T-21A, which is the suppressive gun, an ATST with Imperial Hammer's Elite Armor Pilot, which just makes it surge hit, and then the mortar launcher. So this was actually a very entertaining game. I feel like there was a lot of turn 0 play here. Probably the most time I've spent on turn 0, like evaluating the battle deck cards. So he chose to be red after he saw, I mean, we pretty much have the same deck, which is very smart. I always advise people to do that. Obviously, you want to look at what your opponent has, and if they have the same thing, choose red so you can pick the table side and then have that last veto of the cards. And we spent a ton of time on whether or not we were going to play key positions or VAPs.
So this is why your game took forever. Sorry.
So, like a good, like, because I'm measuring, I don't know if, I mean, most people that have played it will see me like measure where's the center, where are the intercept points potentially going to be, what are the deployment zones. I'll usually measure a radius of range 2 around the center. So like that's what are my speed 2 moves and what are the terrain pieces I can hide behind on like a turn 5 push. So turn 5 I go to the line of sight blocker, and then turn 6 I get a double move to the center in a KP game. So I'm measuring all that. Chris is looking at all that. We're kind of both using some of the data from our practice game where we played KP, ironically, with these same 2 lists. and I beat him, with Anakin force pushing something off turn 6, like in our practice game, and then moving in to snag that center KP and winning 2-1 when we did a practice game the week prior. So it came down to him because he has the last ban, and he's looking at it, and he has the option of, do we play KP again, or we do VAPs when he's got this crazy range 4 gun line suppressive, but he knows he's 799 to my 800. And I'm wanting to play VAPs. And I'm pretty sure he is thinking VAPs because KP, he doesn't want to play against a force user. And literally, I feel like we go back and forth for like what felt like, I mean, it was a while.
What was the center stompable with the ATST?
Yes.
Then you pick key positions.
So we played key positions.
Yeah, you played key positions.
And I think even after he selected, he was like, I just don't know because of the force push that happened last time. So I think he was using previous data from our other game, like in the back of his mind of like, I don't know if I want to deal with the whole force pushing situation at the end with Anakin on turn 6. But in either regard, we ended up playing KP, which I was like, damn it. Because otherwise, there was a really nice line of sight blocker on my side, and I knew we were going to play Long March. And I was like, all right, it's going to take you 1 or 2 turns just to engage me, because we're going to be range 6 apart. And then by that turn, I'm going to be so far back after I hit these VAPs, and then basically take off after my commandos infiltrate, tap them, and run. You're not going to have enough time to get me.
VAPs or key?
If we played VAPs.
Oh, if you played.
If we played VAPs. Sorry. Making all kinds of mistakes. First, what was the other thing I was saying?
Let's talk about the present. Let's talk about the present game.
Padme and Rex and 8 inches versus 4 and basically the same. Just don't even listen to what I'm talking about. Half the stuff I just make up as I go along.
Brendan and I are very puzzled for the listeners.
All right. So to sum that all up, we did play KP Long March fortified positions. And it basically, we spent 4 turns just doing range 4 gunfighting, as you can imagine. He kind of split. He put one of his range troopers a little bit farther away than the other 2 that were by the ATST and Bosk, which I feel like was a huge mistake because the commandos tanked a ridiculous amount of shots, as they do.
That's the deal.
He was finally able to kill a squad of commandos by the end of turn 3 that he focus fired like almost the whole game, I feel like. But between all the dodges from Anakin, Padme, and the surrounding clones, the shields, the
Katarn.
recover, the Katarn. I mean, they couldn't do anything because they had so much suppression because this is a suppressive list. But it was just like trying to basically eliminate an act that was going to potentially grab that center KP. And in the process, I was whittling down that single range trooper that was kind of placed maybe like range 2.5 from the rest because they were all on one side of a building and it was kind of like off to the other side of the building. And then by the time he kind of realized he needed to bring it over to add to the total amount of shots going into the commandos, because you really have to focus them down, it was almost too late and I had pretty much picked off that range trooper squad. So I picked off a range trooper squad. He picked off a commando squad. So I was still up 85 to 88. Not to mention it was, points don't come into play as much in KP, but because we weren't on VAPs. But so anyway, turn 5 and 6 was then everyone kind of bum rushing the center, and then Anakin was able to do his Anakin thing, force push somebody off on the end, and then I was able to grab the center 5-4, I believe it was. So then it was a 2-1 victory.
Well, sweet. There you go.
Kill points were 187 to 343. I downed the ATST, a squad of range troopers.
When did you down the ATST?
So when he started to move the ATST around the building around turn 4, I was like, the only thing that can screw up this entire plan of mine is the ATST just pushing everything off the center. So he went with the ATST. I think he moved it and then shot a squad of commandos, which I then popped Katarn armor on them. They lost a guy. And then Anakin did a saber throw, fire supported by an RPS into the ATST, put 6 wounds on it. Then those commandos that he had just shot used their impact guns, put 4 wounds on it. And then the third action for me was a DC-15 squad. Finally brought it down. And then at that point it was like, okay, nothing's gonna basically just wipe everything off the center KP.
Yeah, I think it's a way different game if that lives until
yes. Well, then it just pushes everything off. Yeah.
I
feel like I did a terrible job explaining that
one. It's okay. We'll leave the
then I confused myself in the process, and then I have Brendan making all these puzzled looks at me. So then I'm like, is it really that bad, or is he just messing with me?
I wasn't listening to you. I was being messaged by somebody with questions for ACO registration, so I was more puzzled by the questions.
He was scheduling more. He was making more movie plans.
No,
that's right.
I was making no movie plans. I'm making plans to go to the movies, but I'm seeing a TV show.
Yes. Semantics.
Semantics.
All right. Anyways, we're gonna move away from John. give his.
So I won that game. I won that game.
Give his brain a rest. Congrats, John. You won the tournament.
Yeah, John.
He got first.
And
let's talk about me and losing my game.
Oh,
that's right. I played against Scott from the Capital Capos. Right. Let's see his list. No joke. I told him when I stepped up to the table, I was like, Scott, I made the same exact list in a list builder. I don't really play Republic. I have the models. They're not really painted, but I made the same exact list you did. So I'm glad to see it on the table. So he played Obi-Wan, Force Barrier, Force Push, Improvised Orders, and Protector. Padme with Seize the Initiative. Phase 1 Clone Troopers with a DC-15 and a Medic. He had 2 of those. And then a Phase 1 Clone Trooper with RPS and no Medic, just their RPS. And then he had 3 Clone Commandos, HQ Uplink, Katarn Pattern Armor, and then the Weapon Config. So 800 points. And I was like, wow, can't wait to see how this is going to, roll out. And then we're both 800. He wins the roll-off, and then he picks me to be blue player, as John was talking about earlier. Like, if you have the advantage and similar decks, go ahead and take red. We landed on hostage, rollout, and clear conditions. I'll talk about it at the end, but I don't know if hostage is a good fit for this Palp deck. But I'll go over that in more detail later. Anyways, so we're both range 4. We both know the deal. I have to go kill at least one of his units in order to like be winning the game. So he picks, I think, DC 15 medic squad as his hostage. I pick a mortar as mine, and with pulling the strings, I get an extra move on the first turn, so that's fine and dandy. Turn 2, let's see, he plays a 1 pip to try and annihilate the hostage because it was still in range. I play Palp's 2 pip, give it to your anger, and I tell him, no, you're going to go with Obi-Wan instead. First, which is like, which is great. That card is amazing. Like, if that is Palp's best card, it's not, and now you will die. It's given to your anger. Given to your anger gives you almost like, if you win priority, it's basically going first twice. Which is just crazy nuts. And then I had to do a lucky pull. I had I think it was about a 50-50 in my bag. And I'm trying to pull a core unit so I can get that mortar out of there. Luckily I do, and I avoid the gigantic scary fire support. I'm like, well, okay, there's that check, right? Now the next thing I have to do is just kill something from his army. So as I'm shooting him like turn 1 and turn 2, what happens is like I'm laying into his RPS team, and like, because I know the commandos, that's not worth shooting them. They're so dumb. it's so dumb. They're not worth shooting. So I'm laying into the RPS squad, and Obi-Wan's barriering protector, and like he's just guarding, right? Every time he did like a guardian roll, like most of the time he like lost 1 or 2, and like his health got low, but he mediced both, right? So then I think he was sitting around like 5 wounds, and I think it was like turn 3. I'm a little fuzzy on it, but I think turn 3 I see like, all right, this is definitely not going my way. His hostage is gone in the wind. My hostage is gone. He's like slowly whittling my stuff down, and then the IRG are dead. He picks them off with like a cloned commando. So things are not looking great for me. And then like a shore squad is like being neutered. So I'm like, okay, well, Obi-Wan's kind of like in like cover, like in this one angle. So let's just shoot at him see what happens. So I get him down to like 2 health remaining, or 1. I think it was 2. Yeah. And then he rightfully so, he goes, yeah, no, I have had enough of this, and runs around the corner. That's frustrating. And then I'm like, okay, well, I've got 2 more range troopers plus Palp's pulling the string. Like, let's try and pick something else off. And I'm like, Padme's was right next to Obi-Wan, so let's just try and shoot her. First shot goes pretty well. She's got like 3 wounds left, and then like I try and shoot her again. I think like I get another 1 wound, but he's eventually able to pull her, and then promptly runs away. I'm like, okay, that's probably game. And then I think it was the end of turn 3 I think the end of turn 3, I notice what's happening. I'm losing. I try and double move with Palp, and then turn 4, I play like a now you will die, and I will double move, and I go first, and I try and immobilize 2 squads to like get even a fighting chance of like killing stuff. And then like on the first shot, he just he kills Palp, right? Because Palp is on 1 wound after and now you will die. So I was like, oh, I didn't even get to tank any shots. Okay, good game. So we called it there. Yeah, I mean, like it really could have gone either way, right? With some certain dice rolls. It was a fun game. Literally just mainly sitting at range 4, just trying to figure out that puzzle. I do not like hostage exchange in the deck. I mean, Palp is good at it if he is red. He's not very good at it if he's blue. I think that's my opinion of it. So I think I remove it from my deck, even though I'm 800, because like I don't want to lose that roll off against like another 800 list.
What do you
that's
think you'd
also
replace
like good
with?
at? That's a good question. I would have to let me look at a list builder. Because you're definitely taking key positions. You're definitely taking sabotage. Intercept's good. I think recover, or it's probably recover, because you can just point all your guns at the center, and then you can like kind of pulling the strings to help go towards the center. That's my initial thought. I don't know if it's good, but it's there.
Okay.
Like you have a lot of guns to point at the center. That's just my first thought. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because like I definitely hated seeing hostage in the deck as blue.
One thing I think could potentially work is payload.
Yeah.
Just because it's kind of a similar thing. I mean, especially with the range troopers, they can just move, still shoot, and have an aim. So
that's true. Yeah, and then Palpa's not bad at it because like he could just walk up. Eventually, if the carts are going to cross, he can just run up to him and just give him the jazz hands.
Yeah.
So, I mean, either one is probably good. It's just I did not like hostage as blue. Anyways, that was my tournament experience as Brendan.
I'm pretty proud of myself. I went 2-1 on the day.
As you should be.
Your name was part of my list, and your litter, and Koray was playing as you. So it was. I mean, it was like you were there, basically. You just weren't there.
I was there.
Just like you were there. And we had the new store kit to give out. I gave out cupcakes, a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Some extra 3D printed stuff, and then I had some like extra alternate art cards stocked up from other events. And my red and clear dice. I was like, well, I'll give these to the newer players that like have come to my tournaments. Like these guys don't have them, so you guys enjoy. I think I literally have like 5 clear white dice left. Thank goodness. Get him out of my face.
And I got the goat llama, which is really why I was there.
And I gave away the goat. John has it.
Yep.
I expect it to return for the next one.
Somebody's going to have to pry it from my cold, dead fingers.
Small, fun side note. If you are in the U.S., and last cast I talked about where I got these statues, these trophies from, I got them from Target. I was like curious. It's like, I wonder if they have any more. No, I went to 2 or 3 different Targets just because, like, on different days. I was like, okay, let's, whatever. I'm in the area. No, they were all out.
Oh.
It was just that crappy horse trophy left. The one that was like a horse on its like 2 legs, and it says "Not my first rodeo." And I said, no, I will not be buying this.
No, I wouldn't.
No. I only care about goats and chickens over here.
Goats and chickens.
Yep.
Anyways. Yes. So that was a great, fun tournament. How about we go into Glorious versus Inglorious segment? What do you guys think?
Debate.
LVOI invite also attached to that. I don't know if that was mentioned.
That's right.
So now I promise I will play Fun List. I promise.
Yes,
I said I was going to do that after Worlds, and then I never actually did. I never did.
Well, I mean, the Commandos are a new shiny unit, so
yes,
it's understandable.
I'll forgive you this one time.
Well, I didn't play for like 6 weeks after Worlds, and then I proxied Commandos for a couple games prior to the tournament, then wanted to play them in the tournament, and then here we are. And I still have not played any fun, quote-unquote, fun list. But I think I'm going to pull out the not the Brendan list and run that.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, we're going to do Glorious versus Inglorious. We're going to talk about the Royal Guard today. Real quick before we start. So this segment, for those of you that don't know, there are two sides. There's the side of Glorious, meaning this unit is amazing. And then there's Inglorious, where this unit is not so great. And then, so one person's going to take, each side. And then the third person is going to be the judge. Hopefully unbiased judge. So I will be judging today. Brendan is going to be taking Glorious, and John is taking Inglorious. Brendan, as is tradition, can you do us a favor and remind everyone what the Royal Guard do?
Yep, so the Imperial Royal Guard are special forces for the Empire. They're 69 points. They have 3 minis in the squad. They're a trooper unit with 2 health per mini and a courage of 2 with red defense. They do not surge on offense or defense. They are speed 2. Their ranged weapon is their EC-17 holdout blaster, range 1 to 2, 2 black. And in melee, they have a force pike, which is red-black. They have the charge keyword, so when they perform a move action, they can perform a free melee attack action. They are disciplined 2, so if they're issued an order, you can remove up to 2 suppression tokens. And they have guardian 2, so they can take shots for other units that are within range 1 and line of sight for up to 2 hits. They can take a heavy weapon upgrade. They only have 1 heavy weapon upgrade available to them. It's the Electrostaff Guard, who adds a melee weapon of 2 black. It's a sidearm, so this model must use that. And it grants them the immune Pierce keyword for melee for 21 points. They can also take 2 training upgrades, a gear upgrade, and grenade upgrade.
All right, sweet. Thank you very much. Well, who wants to go first? I think we're ready.
Brendan?
Let's hear from Brendan. Brendan.
Woo! All right. Well, for starters, they're glorious because they're an Empire unit.
All right, we're good.
Yep, all done. No, also the fact that they really shine on the tabletop because unlike the rest of the Empire, they're red.
They have shiny helmets.
Yeah. So they really pop. They look very different from everything else. But in all seriousness...
Special snowflakes, got
it. In all seriousness, I mean, even if you don't put anything on them, it's 69 points for 6 wounds with red defense dice. I mean, that in itself is quite the bargain when you look at everything else in the faction or anything else really red saves. I mean... That's a lot of wounds. If you put the Electrostaff Guard on, that's 90 points for 8 wounds. And they're red defense dice. I mean, they're glorious just for the keyword Guardian 2. Because they can just soak the shots for everybody else. Now they can't take the suppression, but they can take the wounds. And you throw Protector on there, at least... twice every turn, they have the chance to take some crits where they would have been hits. So they are really good. Now, to note, there are 2 limitations to the Guardian keyword for them. They can't Guardian other Royal Guard, because you can't Guardian a unit with Guardian, and they can't Guardian Dark Troopers. Those were dark days when they could.
Those were awful days.
I was going to say, the dark times.
But otherwise, I mean, for at minimum 74 points, you can get 6 wounds to soak wounds from your other units. If you're not using them just as a Guardian unit, they're a great deterrent for lightsabers if you throw the Electrostaff on there, because they are, again, 8 wounds that are now immune to melee. So if you're worried about a lightsaber coming into your lines and don't want to spend the points for somebody else who's immune to pierce and melee, Royal Guards. I mean, they're cheaper than the Inquisitors and more wounds. So
that is in fact true.
Yeah. So they're only going to become, heartened from melee pierce after they've suffered 6 of their 8 wounds. As long as you don't kill the heavy weapon. Mm-hmm. There are ways that you can make these guys terrifying on the tabletop. If you don't want to go with Protector, give them things like Tenacity for an extra red die in melee. Give them Into the Fray. Get them the surges that they don't naturally have. As a melee unit, if you can get these in, they are scary with those upgrades because they just keep hitting you with their force spikes. They will murder things once they're in melee. That just from sheer dice. I mean, if it's still a full squad, with 1 wound, you're throwing 9 dice at things in melee, so you don't have to worry about cover. It's a lot of dice. They're really good. You want to get them into melee faster? You got, I think, 3 options. The most common option is just gonna, throw recon intel on them. All right, now they're a little bit closer. You're going to get them there. Another option, run them with Vader, new ways to motivate them. Move these guys 3 times, they're in melee. Especially scary if you decide to go the route and give them environmental gear. They're not going to get slowed down. just run them in there.
A barricade means nothing.
Yep. Or if you're crazy, run them in lats. I don't recommend that. But it's something you can do. And after we're done this debate, I will share a list I've come up with IRG and lats.
Small rules question. I forget. Can they use Guardian while inside the Gav tank?
In the Gav tank, yes.
Right, because it's open.
Because it's an open transport.
Sorry, just that image is like ridiculous. Just them like trying to Guardian basically. I just imagine them sticking their staffs out of the side. Like, I got you. I got you, man. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can do with these guys. Want to play them a little bit more cagey at a range 2 game? I don't think it's necessarily worth the points, but you have the option to throw up close and personal on them, and then they can, they're throwing 8 black at range 2. That's nothing to, you can't really brush that off. Even a bad roll with that is probably going to get through cover.
At least 1 through cover.
Right. But, throw an extra dodge on them if you're worried about their survival up close. And then these are one of those units where you might think about smoke grenades, just so they have some extra cover as they're making their approach. Just to give them that, if the table's a little open, you got some points to spare, throw a little extra cover out there for them.
Nice. There you go.
One last thing. Again, not something I think is good, but fun. If you run them with Palpatine, you can run 4 Royal Guards. Because of Entourage.
Who knows if that's good?
I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it could be fun.
Look. I'm saying it's good if there's nothing but Katarn armor out there, okay?
Yeah. But and then
what are you gonna do with 4 Royal Guard?
Charge.
That's right.
But again, one of the other added benefits of Royal Guard is the entourage on Palpatine. So it's a free order every turn if you're running Palpatine. It's a way to keep Palpatine alive from the Guardian. And if you have aggressive tactics on your Palpatine like Koray did at the recent tournament, the IRG are starting with the Surge, and so it's making their Guardian even better. So if you can find ways to get surges on your IRG for the purpose of Guardian, they become that much better. All right, John, go.
They certainly do.
I was actually sitting here adding up points for a Palp quad IRG list, just out of curiosity.
It's fun times.
I mean, it sounds terrible, but I was just curious.
Well, you're looking for fun lists, so...
Well, that was the only reason I was like, seems interesting. I don't know. Only in that matchup, though. But, I don't know. In either regard. All right, so... You listed a lot, and obviously my brain is not working at full capacity tonight. If you recall the game right, the game 3 recap. But anyway, all right. So IRG Inglorious, the most expensive upgrade card in the game. 69 points to help mitigate wounds from any unit that you want to waste your time standing these guys behind for 6 rounds. Plus any additional upgrades you put on top of them as basically just an upgrade, because that's really all they do is sit and try to soak wounds. They don't surge to hit. They don't surge on defense, so defensively they're rolling the same red saves as Stormtroopers, who are not really known for their survivability. So they obviously have a decent amount of wounds, but there's a lot of big dice pools running around. They also aren't immune pierce to range shots. So against commandos, arcs, all the things that are very popular in the meta right now, EXD, their immune pierce and melee is really not going to help them should you choose to throw the electro staff guy in there and bump him up to 90 points. As far as their pistols go, I only bring that up simply because you brought it up, because that wasn't even on my list of things because they're so bad. But if you choose to not double move them, if you are going aggro and you just want to shoot with them, which I don't think is advisable, but there's corner cases. Your 8 white or your 8 black dice, you're gonna get 4 hits, 2 are gonna go away to heavy cover, so your opponent's gonna roll 2 saves. So
told you, Koray, more than 1.
Right?
He's making my points for me now.
Yep.
If you manage to get them into melee, which I don't think is going to happen, a decent pool, 3 red, 5 black, 4.75 hits on average. Not taking into account tenacity, then you can throw in an extra hit there if they have a wound, and you haven't lost that model. Right? So you're in a perfect scenario where you have 1 wound of your 8 wounds and that guy's still, there. But yeah, I don't think they are as threatening as they once were in melee. I don't think they're going to survive to get into melee most of the time anyway. The pistols are useless, so that's not even I'm going to put into my main argument. So I think most of the time you're spending a lot of points to keep your other Empire units alive, and frankly most Empire units are not worth keeping alive.
Oh boy, those are some strong words.
So that is why I say they are nothing more than a 69 plus point upgrade card to help mitigate wounds off your other Imperial units.
May I rebuttal?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Go for it.
All right. My rebuttal to John, we are going to look to somewhat recent events earlier this year where John lost to me while I was playing the invasion force for the droids. I was able to rapid reinforce 2 Magna Guard with rockets and completely disrupted all of his thought process. Guess what? You can do that with Royal Guards, and where the Magna Guards are 106 points for the squad with a RPS, the RPS, which tends to be the way that you run Magna Guards. Mm-hmm. You're saving 16 points on those Royal Guards if you just give them the extra guy. And you remember how scary that was. So the Royal Guards are scarier if they get in there. And you were panicking about the Magna Guards.
I don't think I took a single wound from either of those Magna Guard.
No, but you lost.
I did lose the game.
But you still lost.
You lost to the
that's
distraction.
Neither here nor there. Oh, I can't even talk tonight. Jesus.
All right. Anything else, Brendan or John?
I'm just going to reiterate they're red.
Right. Red is a different color than white.
Red is my favorite color.
It's different from
red
all the white.
Fun fact
black.
about myself.
Alrighty. So before this debate, like we kind of picked roles, right? Who would be judge and who would be glorious and whatnot. And but I've played IRG like plenty of times, and I know what they're about. And I'm trying to like be as unbiased as possible. And I was trying to think, what is the actual definition of glorious? I don't think we actually said it out loud.
No, never.
Like what makes a unit glorious? Is it something? Is it like they're spectacular on the board? They do flashy stuff. Is it they sit in the back and just like support army? Like it could be any number of meanings, right? Everyone's interpretation is a little different. So both sides have like good arguments. I think Brendan's points are good and valid in the sense that they help protect your army. They help protect your bigger pieces. Like Guardian 2 is really, really good if you have access to surges as well. Like it even makes them more tankier.
Also, it's the fact that, and sorry for interrupting you here, Corey, but it's
the
fact that
you.
It's the
deduction.
Only unit that you can spam that can protect anything in your army.
Yes, correct. Let's say you have 8 hits coming at Vader and you have 3 or 4 IRG. I don't think that list is possible.
No, there's not that many points.
You could soak 6 of them on your IRG, right? If you have 3 of them, anyways. But yeah, it is a spammable unit that you could redirect wounds. I don't think you're taking more than 1, though, in most lists.
I took 2 to Nova.
So then, like, so Brendan makes good points where it's like, they help. What is their point? Their point is to guard other units, and mainly where we're at in the game is like that's their main role. They haven't really been effective or seen effectiveness outside of that, unfortunately. So most of the time they just die. They just like their 69 point or what is that? 74 point unit with protector, right? That just dies. And like, if you double move them to get closer or just try and use their pistols, this is not going to work. So yeah, I really struggle with what makes this unit glorious. And I think they're glorious because Brendan said it best. They are red. Red is the best color.
Right?
John, I'll just say it. You're picking uphill battle on this one. I'm not sure how you.
Is that your actual answer? They're glorious because they're red?
Look. John,
No.
In Corey's defense of that answer for why they're glorious, what kid doesn't love a fire engine because it's red?
That's right.
Fair.
See?
The real answer is I think they're glorious because they do the job that is assigned to them, which is Guardian. They're glorious because of that. They're good at it.
The guard good.
They're cheap and effective. And then if you need them to be, they're a linebacker. They're kind of like a whatever you want them to be. They're there for that. But yeah, that's my ruling. I don't think I could see it any other way. I'm sorry, John.
It's all right.
I know. Well, you just need to have a stronger attitude about picking the units and picking which side next time.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty indifferent about this one. The fact of the matter is, you hit the nail on the head. Like, all of the list I've been building for Empire that are like gun lines, I'm always like, throw in one of these, like, because I do think they help mitigate so much damage. Like, I like a squad at 74 points with like a triple range trooper list, personally.
Yeah, like and I think now is a good time to talk about it. they, for the Empire, feel necessary in any type of gun line that you're bringing, regardless of whether or not you're bringing Palp. 74 points is peanuts, to bring compared to like the rest of your 800 points, right? So they just help protect your beefier 9-8X, right? Yeah, they're very useful.
Yeah,
and like if they keep saving, or you bring a medic, right? Like you can heal back those guardian wounds. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, sure, for the naked squad, it's 69 points. If you wanted the same number of wounds with medics, you would need 3, and that's 57 points. So it's pretty close. But it's then also, well, the analysis paralysis of when do you use the medic, what unit should you put the medics on, and sometimes what you're running, you don't think the medics work well in what you're trying to do with that unit. It can be weird sometimes. You'd rather have the stormtrooper specialist rather than a medic because you want the extra firepower and aim than the ability to bring back wounds. So, I mean, the IRG just give you that. Well, I know I'm just going to be using them for defense to keep some things alive for longer.
Pretty much. There you go.
But moving on. Oh, sorry, go Koray.
Oh yeah. Because you said you could build, a Palp list with 4 of them. I made one. Did you make the same thing?
Well, pretty close to it, probably.
Okay. Do you want me to say mine first? Or
it looks like I deleted mine. I'll rebuild it real quick.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I got Palp with Barrier Anger Burst of speed, 3 Stormtroopers with all 3 of them have medics, then 4 guards with staff, tenacity, and recon intel for 794. So you have a bid to like play your dumb battle deck, right? This looks dumb and fun.
So mine was a little different.
This reminds me of like a Wookiee skew, like where you just like you just go all in.
So mine was a little different. I only had 1 medic. And I had 1 stormtrooper with a captain, and then my 4 IRG all had the electrostaff guard, tenacity, into the fray, and recon intel.
Oh, into the fray was the other one I'm missing. Yeah, I chose 3 medics because I was like, that seems good with this amount of
that
wins.
Seems a lot better if you just get rid of some of the other upgrades on things. Yeah,
it's not going to be good.
No,
it'll be fun, but right, because as soon as you run into armor, you just kind of go, well, you want to get lunch?
Yep.
But
so speaking of the also not good, the list John came up with for the Republic with the 2 Lats and the Wookiees, he's dubbing the Brendan list that he better play at some point. I have the complete and utter crazy alternative for the Empire. It is a Lat with Governor Price and onboard comms, another Lat with onboard comm, 2 Royal Guards with the Electrostaff tenacity into the fray, 3 naked Stormtroopers, and the way you really want to do this, 3 dewbacks with tenacity and T-21s for 10 activations.
There you go. The Mad Lad. How many act again? 10?
10.
No, yeah, I'd play that. I would 100% play that. But the problem is I would have to have 2 Lats that are built.
Yeah, I need to build my second Lat.
I currently have 0.
I need to build my second Lat. I'm working on some tables right now. After that, I will get back to... I gotta paint then all my range troopers and clone commandos, and then I can work on my Lat.
Yeah. The good stuff first. Got it.
Yeah. No.
I'm looking at the Brendan list. It is actually pretty solid. Can I spoil it? Because it's pretty good. The more I look at it, it's Clone Commander, 3 Phase 1s, 1 with a Z6, 2 with RPSs, 2 Wookiee Warriors, both with the Battle Shield Wookiee, 2 Lats, both with the shock trooper pilot, onboard comms channel, and high energy shells. And Delta Squad. 9 acts, 800 points. And so the idea is like Delta Squad is basically infiltrating in, they're there, and then the Wookiees are basically flying up turn 1. Right behind them. But it's not like you have naked core. All 3 of your core have heavy weapons, and then the clone commander can throw an order on them. So you can fire support some of these shots, or fire support the Delta Squad shots. And the Lats are ready to lay down some fire. So it's actually pretty intriguing. I mean, I don't think you would like steamroll a tournament, but I think you could go 2-1 or play well with it. I mean,
that looks like you could go 2-1 with some prize factor.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, this is a list I would probably lose to, like, frankly. Because this is the kind of list where I'm like, what is this? Like, and then I get like...
What just happened?
I get caught off guard very easily, as it would seem. Brendan is like my kryptonite in these tournaments, I feel like, because he's always playing some weird thing.
Some wily
John's
stuff.
meticulous way of playing the game does not match my level of crazy.
No, it does not.
John's playing chess. Brendan's playing 4D checkers. Anyways, anything else before we crash the ship?
Nope.
Gentlemen? I think we've been rambling on long enough.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, it's been swell, everyone. We are the Inglorious Blasters. I'm Koray.
I'm John.
I'm Brendan. Everything shoots from a distance now, so Guardian.
Stay glorious, everyone.